Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson have now been unbanned from professional baseball. Will they get into the Hall of Fame? What does this mean for sports betting? Let's find out. Welcome back to class. My name is Professor Baseball. Today we're going to be looking at the big news. Pete Rose, Shoeless Joe Jackson reinstated. No longer have the lifetime ban on Major League Baseball. So this means they are now eligible for the Hall of Fame. Pretty big deal. But there's still some controversy here. Do they get into the Hall of Fame? Especially with people like Alex Rodriguez, Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire outside of the Hall of Fame. And I would argue, yes, they belong in the Hall of Fame. What they did was much different than what Bonds or McGwire did. Bonds and McGwire altered their physical state to enhance their stats. Rose and Jackson, they took money, they took bets to do stuff. That's all they did. They just took money, which is wrong. It's still wrong. But now that they've been unbanned, they're reinstated, they're open, they're eligible for the list. I think they should get in. And there's this tweet here I want to look at from Jeff Passan and the story that Dan Wetzel wrote for ESPN. It says the story says history is history, the game is the game, the museum is the museum. Tell the story, the whole story with all the best players, the best teams for the best tales, no matter how colorful, criminal, or regrettable. Yes and no. I mean, the Hall of Fame is not just a museum. It's an elite class of players that got in because they did what they did. They were elite. And people who did bad things don't get in. As we can see here, this is the Baseball Writers Association of America election rules under the, where is it? Yeah, fifth, the voting. Voting shall be based upon the player's record, their playing ability, integrity. Integrity. People who take steroids. Integrity. That's literally in the rules of voting. It's not just a museum. You don't just put everything in there. The Hall of Fame is not a history book. It's an elite class of players, commissioners, and owners. That's what it is. It's not a history book. You see their integrity, their sportsmanship. We know the stories of Barry Bonds and his sportsmanship. Character as well. Now that's the betting right there. It's poor character. Joe Jackson did take the $5,000. Pete Rose did have a betting problem. That's bad character. Now that ban's been lifted. Now it's a conversation to have. All right, contributions to the teams which they play are added. That's their stats. The Hall of Fame is not a history book. It isn't. I don't know what you guys are talking about, but it's not a history book. It's not. Never has been and never will be. It's for the elite class of players. All right, and that includes integrity. It does. Can't just ignore that. So now with that out of the way, let's look at Pete Rose. Let's look at Shoeless Joe and see if they deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose here, obviously all his stats. You get him MVP. He's most well known for the all-time lead in hits, and at bats, games, plate appearances. The dude was a workhorse. He was. Charlie Hustle. That's what he's known for, right? Or is it? Yep, there he is, Charlie Hustle. My little league, we had a Charlie Hustle award we gave out to the player who gave the most effort in the games. It was pretty fun. But yeah, he left an outstanding legacy. He did a crap ton for the game. All-time leading hits, played for 23 years. Yeah, he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He absolutely does. All right. And betting on his team, and he never actually bet on his team to lose. He only bet on his team to win, which again, we're kind of discussing, the lesser of the two evils. It's still wrong. A career 303 batting average. His OPS plus and WAR aren't like that impressive, but that's kind of what happens when you play for that long. As you can see, if we just take his prime here, even down to here, that's 77 WAR, 130 OPS plus. He was good. I don't think there's any argument on whether he was good or not. But yeah, just based on stats, statistically speaking, he deserves to be in. I don't think outside of the steroid users, there's anybody who's outside of the 3,000 hit club that's not in the Hall of Fame. So Pete Rose, I think, deserves to get in. I do think he does. Now let's look at Joe Jackson, a much shorter career. Someone that I believe Walter Johnson called the purest hitter that he ever faced, which is high honors from the best pitcher of all time. He was leaps and bounds ahead of his competition. You can see with a 170 career OPS plus, 62 WAR, a ton of hits. The dude was just one of the best hitters in all of baseball history. I mean, again, statistically speaking, absolutely deserves to be in. 100% he does. I really don't think there's an argument to not have him in. I mean, his prime, look at this. He hit for 400. Like, in a full season, 147 games, he hit for 400. It's crazy. And I know that the league batting average was much higher. They actually have a stat for that down here, so let's go look at it. Yeah, the league average, the year he hit 400, it was one of these years. There it is. Yeah, 282. That's what, 126 points higher than the league average. Yeah, that's insane. That's insane. That's like hitting. The league average is like what, 248, something like that. We'll just say 250 to make it round. That's like hitting 370 or 380 for a year today. That's nuts. It's insane. There's no argument for, statistically speaking, why Joe Jackson should not be in the Hall of Fame. But there's an asterisk. Yes, he took the gamble. He took the bet. He took the $5,000. Same thing with Pete Rose. They bet. But let's look at Joe Jackson. This is his game logs from the World Series here. Oh, what is that? Don't do that. Stop it. This is the game logs from the World Series right here. There's 8 games. They had a best of 9 in 1919 for the World Series. That's why it was 8 games. Because if you just look here, loss, win, loss. That should be the end. But they just had a best of 9 series that year. I'm not sure why. But yeah. Let's just take a look at it. He hit 375 for the World Series with a 956 OPS. And he has a positive championship win probability added. Does that look like someone who threw the World Series? Does that look like someone who wasn't trying? He threw a guy out at home. He had an outfield assist, too. If he was trying, he would have hit someone in the stands if he was throwing the game. He did not throw the game. He did not throw the World Series. He took the money, yes, but he wasn't even present when they were discussing the deal with the gamblers. He was not present. He was also illiterate, so it's very well possible he didn't even understand what was going on. Oh, also, Joe Jackson was acquitted. He was acquitted. Same with all the other people. They were acquitted, and now Rob Manfred has taken them off the ban list. So they're all good, legally speaking. Now, what they did still doesn't make it good, doesn't make it a good thing that they did, but they're acquitted. They're off the ban list. I don't think he was throwing. He was not throwing the World Series. He took the money. That's wrong. I'm not arguing that that's not wrong. It's very tacky. This is a personal thing. Are steroids worse, or is taking money worse? That's a completely personal decision. But the way the voters are moving, they're starting to ignore this. They're starting to ignore the integrity, sportsmanship, character part of voting. We saw Barry Bonds and A-Rod get more votes every year that they were in the ballot. I think in 5, 10 years, maybe 15, they're going to be in the Hall of Fame, which is a shame because I don't think they should be. Like what they did, what Shoeless Joe and Pete Rose did. Well, let's just take Shoeless Joe. What he did allegedly did, which he was acquitted for, affected 8 games. It affected 8 games. All right, Pete Rose, what he did, he was betting on games when he was a manager. I don't really know the specific number. It affected a finite amount of games. What Barry Bonds did, what McGwire did, what Sosa did, affected from when they started for the rest of their careers. It's forever tainted. Forever tainted. It's completely different. You cannot argue it's the same thing because it affects a different amount of games. It does. It affects your stats differently. All right, Joe Jackson played the exact same. He didn't throw. Pete Rose managed the exact same. He never took bets to throw games. It was said allegedly that he would if the bet was big enough, but that's never been proven. Never been proven. What those guys did, what Rose and Jackson did, affected 8 games, affected a small amount of games. What Barry Bonds, McGwire, Sosa did, started one time, all right, and it affected the rest of their careers, forever tainting their numbers and their name and their character, integrity, and sportsmanship. I really don't think they should be, but that's just the way the sport's moving, especially with the old timers. There's more sympathy there, especially with recency bias. I mean, this just happened. The Hall of Fame voting won't be happening for a while, but still, I think Pete Rose is definitely going to be first ballot the first time he's eligible. I do think he's going to get in. Shoeless Joe, it's a little more tacky with him because he actually bet when he was playing, and he took the money when he was playing in the World Series. This is what everybody in the MLB is working toward. They're working towards winning the World Series. He took the bet in the World Series. It's really hard. I would still say yes. I would. And because there's a big difference. There's a big difference between taking money, taking bets, and gambling, and altering your physical body to enhance your stats and therefore taint every stat you have, tainting it your whole career. All right, and Barry Bonds, I know he didn't start taking them till uh, the late 90s or early 2000s. And before that, absolutely. He was an easy first ballot Hall of Famer. We're talking 95% of the vote at least. But he took the steroids. He did. Same thing with these guys. They took the money. They did. But taking steroids to enhance your body to get more home runs, to help your not help to cheat your way to win is not. It's not okay. It's not. I mean, same thing with betting. It's not okay. I'm not arguing that betting is not okay. I'm arguing that steroids are worse than betting. Taking a bet to throw 8 games, which he didn't. He didn't throw the games. He didn't. We saw with his performance. There's no way. You don't hit 375 while throwing. You just don't. And if he did, then it just speaks to how good he is. You don't do that. All right. You take steroids to enhance your physical body, to get stronger, hit more home runs, draw a bunch of fake intentional walks that don't count because nobody wanted to pitch to a cheater. All right? It's different. It's different. You altered everything for the rest of your career versus taking one bet once or Pete Rose betting when you're a manager. It's completely different. It is completely different. But hey, that's just my opinion. That's what I think on the matter. This is just my reaction to it. What I think should happen, what I think will happen, is Pete Rose gets in probably first time. Joe Jackson might take a few cycles, but I think he'll get into. Unfortunately, A-Rod, Bonds, McGwire, all those people will probably get in 10, 15 years as well. It's just the way that the Hall of Fame is moving. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. As always, thank you guys so much for coming to class. I've been Professor Baseball. You've been great, and I will see you next time.